And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today we're talking about two things being true at once. We're going to be looking at the dynamic duo of Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin and why we should be excited for them this upcoming season. Next, we're going to be looking at another reason why the Washington Commanders must extend Terry McLaurin. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jayden Daniels is going to be hitting Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel for multiple touchdowns this upcoming season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. And so make sure you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it. And let's start with Terry McLaurin. And so if you want to see this article, it is posted on PFF, and it is ranking wide receivers going into this season. And Terry McLaurin, he gets the 10th best ranking in the National Football League heading into the 2025 season here. And so it lists a couple key statistics here, and we're going to talk about those a little bit more in a moment. But the first point here is that he leads the league with 89 contested catches since 2020. Next, it talks about his cumulative WAR of 1.31 over the past 3 seasons, which ranks 7th amongst wide receivers here. And so if you're unfamiliar with what WAR means in football, what that is it's a stat that attempts to measure a player's overall value to a team by estimating how many wins they contribute above what a replacement level player at the same position would contribute. And it stands for wins above replacement there. And so it essentially is a way in which you can tell a player's impact on their team's win-loss record is. And so this is something that you clearly see that Terry McLaurin is huge for Washington. He is certainly impactful here in helping this team win. You also get a chance to see just how good he is in contested situations here. And so let's start with that. I just think that those are two important stats as to why the Washington Commanders must take care of him and get an extension, because I've said this before. Look, a lot of defenses knew that Terry McLaurin was coming and the coverage was there, but Terry McLaurin just finds a way to make it happen. I mean, this is a guy that has had 6 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and that's with a span of 11 different quarterbacks. And he's finally got a chance now to get some continuity here with Jayden Daniels. And I must think that that is probably going to lead to even more success. And so I think that, look, you have got to go out there. You've got to pay Terry McLaurin, make sure that he continues to keep that connection with Jayden Daniels. These guys have been terrific with the work that they put on and off the field. And I think that it's going to take another step forward with just what the Washington Commanders have added this season. And I'll continue to say this. I think going into this season, I think that, look, I know defenses are still going to be geared to stop Terry McLaurin, but I just think with all the additions that the Washington Commanders have made on offense, it's going to be tough to key in on number 17. And I just think that this is the year that it could be a breakout season for him. And so I hope that they do take care of him. And the fact that he is that impactful on the club as far as winning, that just lets you know the type of leader that you are getting with Terry McLaurin. Look, I don't think that there's a player in that locker room that would tell you any different about Terry McLaurin. And so, look, I think he's certainly responsible for a lot of winning that this club is going to do this season and beyond. And so that is another reason why you must take care of Terry McLaurin. And so, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's shift focus now and look at the reason why we should be excited for the Washington Commanders duo this season. And so in this very same article, they do talk about Deebo Samuel as well. And I must say that even though the ranking here would be something where you'd say to yourself, okay, you're not that excited about it, I actually am excited about it, because we're going to go back to the point here with Terry McLaurin, in a moment. But I think that this really drives home the fact that the Washington Commanders have something special here. And so Deebo Samuel, he got ranked 30th in that same article. And it talks about, just paraphrasing here, that, look, he had career lows with the injuries and things like that. But now a fresh start here with Washington. And the bet there is just what is going to happen now that he's obviously with this fresh start. And so, look, I think that what you're going to see from Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin, I think is something special this season. I really feel like that between Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, I feel like that they're going to be able to just really be utilized in multiple ways. You throw that out there with Jalen Lane, you throw that out there with Noah Brown. I think that this wide receiving core is going to be tough to stop, especially as Jayden Daniels continues to ascend this next season, which I think he does, because we talked about this yesterday. The protection for him is certainly going to increase when you bring a guy like Laramie Tunsil over, and then you also take care of, doing what you needed to do in the first round of the draft by bringing in Josh Connolly Jr. Like, the timing for Jayden Daniels is going to be there even more than it was a year ago. And as far as his rhythm and his understanding to the National Football League and just the amount of speed that's coming at him, you know that Jayden Daniels is naturally going to take a step forward and adjust to that even more. So I just think that, look, when you start to throw these schemes at these defenses and stuff now, I think between the two of these guys, they're set to have some great seasons. And so I know that Coach Dan Quinn talked about Deebo Samuel being used similar to the way he was used with the San Francisco 49ers. And I get it. He is going to be used at the running back position some. I can see that. But I really do feel like that as a wide receiver this year, Deebo Samuel is going to take off. I think that this is going to be maybe one of the first years that he'll be out there and he's just not dependent on as the 1A type of wide receiver here. I think he can be 1B. And I think it's going to be interesting to see as Terry McLaurin is kind of occupying so much space in the middle of the defense or running routes and things like that. You're going to see Deebo Samuel, I think, get to his spots underneath coverage. And we know that he is terrific at yards after the catch. I think that, look, coming back from the season where he was injured and things like that, and really the team, the San Francisco 49ers, struggled. But I think he's got a ton of juice left. He's super motivated. We've already taken care of him from a contract standpoint. I think he's going to come in and just be so ready. And I just think between the two of these guys, they are going to have quite the year, because between him getting the yak and then between Terry McLaurin just busting coverage like he has been doing for us, I think that the sky's the limit for this. And so I love the fact that he's coming in ranked this low. I do not feel like that Deebo Samuel is going to be this low at the end of the season. And I know, this is just, a pre-ranking, so to speak. This doesn't really tell you much of anything, but still, I think that, look, Deebo Samuel is going to be just fine. And I think that if Terry McLaurin is 10 at the start of this season, I could see something where Terry McLaurin could even go up the rankings a little bit, because when you look at the players that are ahead of him, Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Nico Collins, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, you got St. Brown of the Detroit Lions, then you have Jamar Chase, and then Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown, who they have ranked number one. Look, a couple of these wide receivers were really, kind of battling some injuries. Like Mike Evans, he was battling some injuries last season. Tyreek Hill, look, I think that he's dealt with some inconsistent play there at the quarterback position due to injuries and things like that. Nico Collins, I think that he really came on there with the Houston Texans, but he was injured last season. CeeDee Lamb, he was in a situation where Dak Prescott was injured, right? So that could happen again. And then you have Puka Nacua. He was also injured. So I do feel like that Terry McLaurin could easily jump up those spots. And again, this is just an article ranking, but like I said, I think that you can make an argument that Terry McLaurin could be a top 5 type of receiver, depending on just the type of growth that we see from this offense, which, again, if you're looking at just all the things that Adam Peters did, it looks like that it's an offense that is primed and ready for a jump, because he's went out and addressed the offensive line to just go ahead and minimize the type of pressure and the attention that Jayden Daniels is going to face from teams trying to come after him. So he's buying him some time there. He went out and got him some more weapons in the wide receiver room with Deebo Samuel, Jalen Lane out there. You got Noah Brown coming back, who was really having a productive season. And then we just talked about Zach Ertz, who had really a great season out there, considering that a lot of people thought that, look, Zach Ertz was not going to be a huge contributor. He is certainly going to occupy some space on the field as well, where teams are going to have to pay attention here. So I just think that you have a lot of things that have the Washington Commanders really set up for some success. We're hoping that Brian Robinson Jr. can be healthy. Austin Eckler certainly can continue to be healthy. And then, I think the mystery guy that a lot of us fans are really banking on is going to be Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who I really feel like has the real potential to be an impact for this team. And so it just looks like a team that can open you up on the ground and through the passing attack here. So I think that Terry McLaurin is primed to make another jump in these wide receiver rankings here throughout the season. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking. Do you feel like that, yes, Terry McLaurin is the 10th best wide receiver right now in the National Football League? Do you feel like, no, he's not the 10th best wide receiver? Once again, this is an article that you can read for yourself on PFF. And then also, too, what do you think about the Washington Commanders here and this dynamic duo? Do you feel like that, yes, Deebo Samuel, look, he's rated 30th right now. Again, coming into this, do you think that he's going to be much higher by the end of the season? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are as far as where do you think that he is going to rank, and where do you feel like that this duo between Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin will finish. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. And like I said before, we see more proof as to why Adam Peters and this front office must take care of Terry McLaurin. And so anyway, you guys let me know what you guys are thinking. And as we always say, look, go Commanders. Enjoy the holidays out there, guys. And we'll see you on the next one. All right, peace.